Good evening. A new tactic from Doug Ford's government. It is telling the Court of Appeal here at Osgoode Hall that it will not use its nuclear button and invoke the controversial notwithstanding clause if the court grants a stay, allowing it to move forward with downsizing Toronto City Council and having a 25-ward election on October 22nd. Now, a panel of 3 judges here at Osgoode Hall heard arguments all day long on whether to grant a stay on last week's ruling that the government's plan to slash Toronto City Council violated the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. They'll make their decision tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. And one of the candidates fighting against the government says he's optimistic.
They had no questions of us with respect to irreparable harm and the balance of convenience, which to me signals that we made our case, as Selwyn has just pointed out. There's an evidentiary foundation that we are standing on. They don't have an evidentiary foundation to stand on, and I'm persuaded that we may be meritorious, we may be victorious tomorrow.
So one day last week, you actually said it's done. They've pulled the nuclear button. We've lost. Do you still feel the same way today?
Until I calmed down. Had a Guinness. I said, hold on here. There was more to be done. And there is actual authority for the fact that what you're doing is unconstitutional.
The province brought the motion to stay, and they didn't provide any evidence as to the sorts of things that a court would normally require to grant the stay. I mean, they really, I think what they did was they held the court hostage. They said, either you grant the stay or we're going to bring in Bill 31. If you grant the stay, then we won't. And we'll see whether the court buys that or not.
The province argued not granting a stay will cause further election chaos. Lawyers against the stay, who represented candidates, says it's the government that created the chaos in the first place and unfair to interrupt an election midway through.
It's emotional because for any candidate, we put a lot on the line, and it's even harder when we continue to live in limbo. And even with, Thursday, Bill 31, if it goes through, there could be a court case against that. So there's no end in sight, but, we do say that it's not over till the fat lady sings, and I don't hear any singing yet, so...
But it seems no matter what the Court of Appeal decides, the uncertainty in the upcoming election will be far from over, because the government is also asking for an appeal to be held after the October 22nd election. So if they win the stay and go ahead with the 25-ward election, but then lose on appeal, then the whole election can be deemed invalid. And don't forget that it could work conversely as well. Aren't we just in for a mess no matter what happens?
I have already indicated that come what may, on October 22nd, there will be likely a class action lawsuit pursuant to Section 83 of the Municipal Election Act to invalidate this election as controverted. The uncertainty, the chaos, the city's own admission in its lower court factum has already said that Bill 5's application would render this election illegitimate. I think we've already crossed that bridge.
Again, the Court of Appeal will announce its decision tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Now, if a stay is not granted, then the government could move on Thursday afternoon and pass Bill 31. That's the controversial one with the notwithstanding clause. Again, a decision on that, it's likely scheduled to pass on Thursday afternoon. But the city and candidates, well, they're promising to challenge that in court as well.